Look at how absolutely gorgeous this cabbage is. I'm using it to meal prep an Asian style veggie and rice bowl. Come make it with me. Here are the ingredients that we're using for this meal prep. The cool thing about this tutorial is that I'm going to give you lots of creative ways to substitute based on dietary restrictions or time restrictions. For example, this can be completely vegan, but I'm using ground chicken to add some extra protein. Next up, if you don't want to use fresh ginger, use some ginger paste. If you don't want to use fresh garlic, use some minced garlic. Those are just some time savers. All right, let's get to the prep. So eggplant is the star of our show. We're going to start by slicing it into strips. You could also cube it or dice it however you'd like. And if you're not a fan of eggplant, then I recommend doubling the amount of mushrooms that you use. I'm using shiitake mushrooms, but you could do a nice little blend of mushrooms to add some different textures. But eggplant has high nutritional value with that fiber, potassium, and a lot of vitamin C and B. Now moving on to our aromatics, we're going to be using onion, ginger, and garlic. Again, you can substitute or have pre-prepped items to save some time. Chopping is therapeutic for me, and I justify the time that it takes by the fact that I'm meal prepping for a whole family of four for a whole week. So this meal prepping is going to go a long way. So after we have all of our onions sliced, we're going to go to our garlic, and that can be thinly sliced as well, but I'm actually going to mince the garlic. Garlic is just one of my favorite things on this earth, so I'm actually going to use pre-minced garlic like in the package and that fresh garlic in my meal. And I'm choosing to peel the ginger, but you can chop it or mince it again. Also using a food processor for this process could be good, or a mandolin. So now that all of our aromatics are ready, we're going to slide those away, get them ready for the pan, and then move on to another star of our show, which is this Bubba-sized cabbage. I love cabbage. It's oftentimes seen in Asian cuisine, but in soul food, where I'm from, we also love making cabbage as a side dish for Sunday dinners. And if you're not a fan of red cabbage, you can totally use broccoli, zucchini, or some bell peppers into this meal. Great substitutes. Look at that vibrant color, y'all. It's just unreal. It's gorgeous. So once your cabbage is all chopped up, you're going to give a hefty serving of olive oil spray to your pan. And I am about to season up this cabbage. So I'm using black pepper, and then one of my favorite seasonings, Slap Your Mama. If you know, you know. And we're also going to, you guessed it, use some minced garlic, in addition to that fresh garlic that we're saving for the eggplant. Now, during the chopping process, me and Bubba got real personal, so I'm just going to go ahead and mix all the seasonings and the oils with my hands. Don't worry, they clean. And we preheated our oven to 400, depending on how long you want the cabbage to roast. That's how high or low of a temperature, but I wouldn't go above 425, and I would watch it very closely and stir it very often if you do put it on 425, because it's going to cook fast. So I put mine on 400. We slide that in there, and we'll come back in a little bit just to stir it halfway through the cook and watch its process. Now it's time to get our cast iron skillet ready for the aromatic magic. We also use our olive oil spray here, and we poured in our garlic, onions, and ginger and let that roast up, get a little caramelization and browning on it. Looking delightful. That's going to keep going for a while we start our rice. I washed it, that's why it looks a little wet and soupy. And then once I added that eggplant, I realized that I really needed a wok pan, which I do not own, but maybe one day I will get one. Do you see me forcing it? That's ridiculous. So we moved everything from there to a big pot. I'm glad that I got to get the caramelization on the onions and garlic and ginger first. And we poured in our mushrooms, and we went through a similar seasoning process as the cabbage, plus some Cajun seasoning and some smoked paprika. Now it's just a matter of letting everything cook, stirring our rice, stirring our veggies, and letting everything simmer, getting the flavors all up in there. And we cooked our chicken up real quick with similar spices and garlic as well. Midway through, we were checking our cabbage. I was really excited because it was cooking up well and it was starting to get a little bit of a crisp on there, which is perfect. And we just let that cook for probably about 25 minutes total. Look at that crisp. Now here is the most important part of this tutorial, the sauce. Now don't worry, I got you. If it's a Wednesday night and you're not feeling it, just pull out that teriyaki sauce, add some water, maybe a little sriracha, and you're good. But if you're with me, let's go. So here are all the ingredients that I use for my sauce. I made this up based on what I know and love about Asian cuisine. Emphasis kind of on Japanese and Chinese cuisine. Screenshot this list for later and make it your own. For example, with the vinegar, I use balsamic because I actually didn't have any rice vinegar. That's what I would prefer, but also apple cider vinegar would slap as well. So we mixed all those ingredients, and then I had a new ingredient that I needed to taste. I had heard about this crunchy garlic with chili oil, and I needed to taste it before I put it into the sauce. Y'all, it's life-changing. In this video, you're going to see I'm just irritated. I'm just irritated because I knew I was going to use the whole thing in 2 servings. I added that to the mix, and then it was time to put it into our pot with the veggies. Adding broth to thin it out or stretch it out is a great option, or just plain water. And now it's time to plate. We got our white rice. And then our meal comes out looking delightful like this. Also, option to separate the components and eat it kind of like a traditional dinner plate, or a bowl all mixed together. Y'all, when I tell you it's delicious and nutritious, because you know that's how we do, follow for more meal prep inspiration.